Boom. We are live. Estamos a rojo vivo. Your boy got the Columbia jersey. Copa America is kicking off. And down here, football games are always lit, man. In the States, they call it soccer. Around the world, it's football. So, your boy has to represent Colombia. Así es, parcero, de una. So, man, I am enjoying my time down here. But last couple of weeks, I've been traveling a lot. I've been out of pocket. That's why I have not been making a lot of live streams. But now I feel like it's time to jump back on and share something that I've come across in my inner game journey. As I've been learning these concepts, I've been trying to also show it off to the world, show the things that I've been discovering. And in today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about the difference between positive and negative fuel. There's always that scrub that relies on negative fuel to accomplish his goals. So he could either be going through a breakup and he tries to use it for gym motivation. He could have always been like the underdog in his life, where maybe he did not grow up in the best circumstances, and he always used that negative fuel to propel his goals. You can hear him saying things like "fuck the haters," and he's always trying to use that negative fuel to hit the gym, level up his life, his career. And this is a mistake that I've done for a long time. I used to be that same scrub, and to be quite frank with you, this is something that I've been learning as well throughout my journey. I'm still learning these concepts as I am further discovering how to properly implement these topics. So, dirty fuel, all it is when you're trying to use that negative fuel to propel your goals for motivation. So, dirty negative fuel for motivation involves using harmful, unsustainable, or destructive sources for drive. While these might provide like a short term motivation, they often lead to negative consequences such as stress, burnout, and damage to relationships or your personal well being. Quick background on me: I grew up in the ghetto, man. I grew up in the hood up until I was like 12. And this is something that I've come to realize, that I've always used that as motivation to push me forward. It's always helped me. I think that negative fuel of where my family started, where I started when my parents immigrated to the United States, it's always helped me to some extent, because I always knew that I never wanted to go back to that piece of shit environment. I always knew that I didn't want to stay there. I knew that I was meant for greatness. I was meant for better things. And I always remember that I used it for fuel. Like, I would have on my vision board, I would have like where I grew up. And I would think to myself, man, like, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here one day. I'm never coming back to this place. I'm gonna show everyone around me that this was not meant for me. And it did help me because it motivated me. It gave me a lot of fire, a lot of fucking desire to really accomplish my goals and level up my life. But now, as I'm maturing, as I went through my 20s and I have entered my 30s, I've come to realize, like, man, like, it helped me, but it's not sustainable. It's not something that, like, it just, I remember it used to piss me off a lot. It used to make me angry. And it did help me in the beginning. But now it's like, I don't need that. I don't need that anymore. I don't need that negativity to remind me who I am and who I truly am in my core. And some examples of negative fuel can be the fear of failure, where you're being driven by the fear of failing, which can create an intense pressure or anxiety. So this is what I was feeling a lot when I was doing these reflections on my vision board. It was giving me a lot of intense pressure, which did put a fire under my ass to really step it up when I was in school, when I was trying to level up my career. But it wasn't something that was going to be sustainable in the long term, because often these negative sources lead to stress, they lead to burnout, they can even damage some relationships. and they can also really hurt your personal well-being. Because if you think like the world's always out to get you, if you think that it's you against the world, that mentality, you can burn a lot of bridges and you can hurt a lot of relationships in the process. Also, jealousy and envy. When you're using jealousy or envy as a motivator, it can lead to unhealthy competition and resentment because you're trying to outdo others or you're trying to attain what they can by exhausting and damaging certain relationships. So it's like that competition mindset where it's either I win or no one wins, or there has to be a loser in the relationship. And man, one thing that I realized is that it's not, you don't have to hurt people. You don't have to ruin relationships for multiple parties to level up. I would say that the best relationships that I've had have been mutualistic, where I help someone, they help me back. And that relationship really just propels you to that next level. Another form of negative fuel can be external validation. When you're relying on praise or approval, recognition from others as your primary source of motivation. And this can be problematic because this can result in constantly seeking validation, which may lead to low self-esteem and like the inability to find intrinsic motivation, something that comes out of you. You're trying to please other people instead of fulfill yourself, fulfill your true self, your true objectives and goals. And guilt and shame can also be another form of negative fuel because you're motivating yourself through guilt or shame about, let's say, certain past actions or perceived inadequacies that can be detrimental. This can lead to negative self-talk, and it can also erode your self-worth and create a toxic cycle of motivation based on self-punishment. So this is something that I had to deal with a lot because, like I mentioned, since I grew up in the hood of Houston, Texas, I grew up in the north side, and it wasn't the best environment for me to grow up. I knew that when so consciously, you just kind of know that when you're in the moment. But as I would analyze it more in retrospect, like I didn't like growing up where I grew up. It wasn't until my family got us out of that environment, took us to the suburbs, that I really started to find who I was. I had a better environment around me, better friends, better people around me that I could really pursue and find who I was. I wasn't stuck to that environment anymore. But I would catch myself trying to motivate myself through that journey of from the fact that I grew up in the hood. So this would often, it would just give me a lot of burning hunger to never return to that shit. So, but if we really break it down, it was coming out of a place of fear and shame because since I didn't want to be seen in that light anymore, it was like motivating me. But that often led to burnout. It never filled the void of knowing that there's value in everyone. There's value in you from the beginning, not from where you come from, not from the certain environment that you grew up in. The value has always been there, and it's just our job to really take it out and see it for what it is. See it without this lens of distortion of thinking that you should be shameful or feel some type of guilt for it. Another one could be revenge or spite, when you're seeking to prove others wrong or get back at someone who doubted you. And that can be powerful, but it's an unhealthy motivator. And it often leads to a negative mindset, strained relationships, and an inability to focus on your own growth and happiness. So revenge, this is big, man. Like you see this a lot in minority communities. Like a lot of songs talk about it, a lot of rap songs, hip hop songs. They use a lot of revenge and spite to fuel their goals. And I'm guilty of it. Like I've used it. Like I've always thought when I was like in my like 18 to like 24, I used to think to myself like, man, I'm gonna prove the world wrong. I'm gonna go do these things. I'm gonna show them that I was meant for better things. And to some extent, like we're all meant for greater things. Like you deserve to fulfill yourself, to become the strongest version of yourself. I deserve the best out of my life as well. But the lens from which I was looking at this perspective was again distorted. It's not about getting revenge or being spiteful about a situation. It's about you knowing that you are meant to become greater, and it's your own personal journey. You're following your personal journey to level the fuck up and become the best version of yourself. You're not doing it to prove people wrong. Like fuck everyone else. It's all about you. At the end of the day, it's about how you feel, how you think, making sure that you're bringing peace to your life, and you are performing the adequate actions for that. So by understanding these differences, you can cultivate a positive mindset to enhance your productivity, your well-being, and also motivation for your goals. So a couple of great sources of clean fuel that you can use for motivation is a passion or a hobby. So engaging in activities you love, such as playing an instrument, painting, making videos, gardening, working out, boxing, these can all be sources of great motivation. The intrinsic enjoyment of fulfillment derived from these activities keep you energized and motivated. So now if we compare the dirty sources of fuel to the clean sources of fuel, the dirty sources they're just contaminating your mind. As we compare it to the positive sources, now this is something that you truly enjoy to do. Like I love making these videos, even if I don't get the responses that I want for some of the videos, I still enjoy doing it. I like helping people. I like sharing my wisdom from the experiences that I've learned in my life to help people. This is an interest that really drives me. And it's coming out of a place of love and resourcefulness. I'm trying to help as much as I can. Another way you can do this is also just by your personal growth and your learning. So the desire to learn new skills, gain knowledge, and grow as a person can motivate you to take on challenges and push you beyond your boundaries. This could include pursuing further education, attending workshops, or reading books on topics of interest. So learning is powerful, man, because the more you learn, the more your mind expands. Like I never thought that I was going to be traveling around the world. I never thought that I was going to be making as much money as I do now, that I was going to be able to help my family as much as I do now. It wasn't until I started reading more and just educating myself more that the world really started to open up for me. I started to understand the true possibilities of what I can accomplish. But I know that if I wasn't seeking that knowledge, if I wasn't actually trying to learn and level up, this would never have come to fruition. So learning, it's constant. You're never going to stop learning. This is something that you always have to implement into your daily routine. And the next thing that you can use for positive motivation is positive relationships, where you have supportive relationships, maybe your family, your friends, mentors that can provide encouragement, advice, and a sense of belonging. This is one of the biggest reasons why I like to box. I like to go to MMA dojo, train, because every time that I go to any dojo, whether it's at home, whether it's when I'm traveling, I always meet like-minded guys that are just trying to level themselves up. They're trying to stay in shape. They're trying to learn how to defend themselves. Maybe they're doing it for themselves or for their family, but it's just like-minded, healthy guys. So having these relationships around you really cultivate a better environment for you. When I was growing up in the fucking hood, like, bro, we had fucking drug dealers all over the place. We had like gang members. It was just a very negative, toxic environment. And I didn't realize it at the time because I was just a kid. But now that I see it in retrospect, that's not the environment that you want to grow and develop in. So knowing that others believe in you, your abilities, and that they're there to support you is a powerful motivator. That's why young men, kids need mentors. They need a masculine figure that they can look up to. And a lot of times you can find these masculine figures in sports, either at the gym, at an MMA, boxing dojo. you'll be able to find them there. And then the next thing is health and well-being. So this is prioritizing physical and mental health to be a strong motivator for you. So exercising regularly, having a balanced diet, mindful practices when it comes to boosting your energy levels. This could be through improving your mood, by meditation, getting good amounts of sleep every night, breath work techniques. There's a variety of different ways that you can do this, but you always want to prioritize your physical and mental health. Take care of yourself, because at the end of the day, man, like this whole burnout culture is a bunch of bullshit, bro. Like you need to take care of yourself. You need to ensure that you're staying healthy and your mind is just right. So having a balanced diet, check your vices, check that you're not over consuming negative substances like weed, alcohol. Like, bro, don't get me wrong. Like I like to have a good drink every now and then, but just don't overdo it. Don't overdo it where you're getting drunk every other day, or you're over drinking alcohol when you do drink, So just maintaining that mindset where you want to stay healthy is very powerful to keep fueling that positive growth. So the last one here is setting and achieving personal goals. So whether that is related to your career, your fitness, or your personal development, this can provide a sense of accomplishment and motivation to continue striving for more. The satisfaction of reaching a milestone can propel you to set and pursue new goals. And this one really relates to a great book that I read titled Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he really breaks down how having like those goals, those milestones, just help you stack more fucking wins as you are on your journey. So having small goals and long-term goals is really just going to help you stay on the path. And this is a form of self-love. Like if you have goals for yourself, that means that you hold yourself accountable, that you want to level up. So this is a source of positive fuel. So don't be that fucking scrub that tries to rely on negative motivation all the time. I used to be that scrub, when I used to use my early background for my drive going forward, but it just leads to more stress. It leads to burnout. It can destroy some of your close relationships, and it's not worth using that negative fuel for the long term. It could be beneficial because it was beneficial for me in the short term, but it's not sustainable. What we want is positive fuel to sustain this journey. This is for life. This is a marathon. It's not a fucking sprint. So you want to use positive fuel to propel you for the rest of your life, not just for spurts of motivation. You will come to find that you get a lot from short-term negative fuel. So there you have it, gentlemen. Hope this video was helpful of really understanding the difference between positive and negative fuel. If you made it this far into the video, make sure to give us a like. Also, hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you all in the next video. Stay positive, stay relentless, and keep on conquering. You got this. Peace.